Have you ever reached out and touched something you once dreamed of, only to realize it did not bring the happiness you expected? Maybe you worked hard for a good job, made plenty of money, bought a beautiful house, and drove a luxury car. All the things society calls success. But then, in a quiet moment, you realize your heart still feels empty. The joy comes and goes quickly, while that hollow space inside remains, never truly filled. If you have ever felt that way, you are not alone. And that is exactly why today's story might just make you stop and think. Since we were kids, we were taught that happiness is like a reward waiting at the end of the road. We are told to run fast, climb high, and fight without rest until we finally get there. And once we arrive, happiness will be ours. Sounds logical, right? But is it really? How many people have reached the top of fame and fortune, owning everything others dream of, yet still feel an emptiness inside they cannot explain? It turns out happiness is not as simple as we once believed. The story you are about to hear is not just a tale for entertainment. It is more like a mirror reflecting the things we often overlook in our pursuit of happiness. In this story, a young man named Ethan, who seemed to have it all, found himself lost and exhausted, and a chance meeting with a wise old man named Mr. Collins changed everything. What they went through together was not just a strange challenge, but also a profound lesson with the power to transform the way we see life. Take a few minutes to walk fully through this story, because the lesson Ethan learned from Mr. Collins may be the very key to unlocking the happiness you have been searching for all this time. Ethan was a man admired by everyone in his village. He was known for his courage, his strength, and his unbreakable will. Whenever trouble came, Ethan was always the first to step forward. People looked up to him as a symbol of determination. Yet behind that fearless exterior, he carried a secret no one knew, a quiet sadness, an emptiness he could not name. Even though he had achieved many things others longed for, Ethan still felt like a crucial piece of his life was missing. Each victory brought only a fleeting joy which soon faded away, leaving a deeper emptiness behind. He began to wonder, is this really all life has to offer? Or is there something greater, something deeper, that I have not yet discovered? That burning question pushed him out of his comfort zone to search for answers. In the village, people often spoke about an old man who lived in seclusion at the edge of the forest, Mr. Collins. They said his words were like a mirror to the soul. Anyone who talked with him walked away with a new perspective on themselves. Hearing this, Ethan's hope began to grow. One morning, he left his home and followed the narrow path leading to the small wooden cabin where the old man lived. When he arrived, he saw Mr. Collins sitting quietly on a worn-out chair, his eyes filled with calmness and his gentle smile bringing a sense of peace. Ethan took a deep breath and with a trembling voice said, "Sir, I have worked so hard, I have achieved many things, but inside I still feel empty. Please, show me the way. Where can I find true happiness?" Mr. Collins listened in silence, then gently nodded. He did not answer directly, but softly said, "I will help you, but first, you need to do something for me." He pointed to an old wooden bucket sitting by the porch. Its surface was full of tiny cracks as if it had been used for many years. "Take this bucket to the river, fill it with water, and pour it into the well behind my house. You must do this every day." For 1 full week, Ethan was taken aback. He looked at the cracked bucket, then at the old man, ready to ask why he would give him such a meaningless task. But when he saw the calm look in Mr. Collins's eyes, he stayed quiet, nodded, and decided to follow the instruction. The next day, under the scorching sun, Ethan carried the bucket to the river. He filled it with water, but on the way back, the water leaked out through the cracks. By the time he reached the well, only a few drops remained. Disappointed, he still poured the little that was left into the well. Day after day, the same thing happened. No matter how hard he tried, Most of the water always drained away on the way. The heat burned his shoulders, his hands grew rough, and his body became exhausted. With every step, doubt gnawed at him. Why am I doing this? What is the point? But remembering the promise he made to the old man, he clenched his teeth and pressed on. A week passed, and the bucket was still nearly empty by the time he reached the well. Tired and discouraged, Ethan returned to the cabin, feeling like a failure. He set the almost empty bucket down and said in a voice heavy with disappointment, "Sir, I have failed. I could not fill your well. A whole week has gone by and all my efforts were wasted." But Mr. Collins only smiled, his kind eyes glowing with understanding. He spoke slowly. "You have not failed, Ethan. You did exactly what I hoped for. Turn around and look at the path behind you." Puzzled, Ethan turned around, and then he froze. The dry, dusty road he had walked for a week was now covered with fresh, green grass, dotted with countless bright flowers. The whole path was bursting with life in just a matter of days. Ethan's eyes widened in astonishment, and his heart pounded as he whispered, "How is this even possible?" Mr. Collins looked at him, his eyes full of wisdom. You see, it was the water dripping from that cracked bucket that nourished the dry ground. Because of it, grass grew and flowers bloomed. The bucket had flaws, but those very flaws brought life to the entire path. He paused, then continued. Life works the same way, Ethan. Each of us carries cracks, mistakes, and imperfections. But that does not make our efforts meaningless. True happiness is not when you stand at the top, but when you realize that every step you take leaves a mark, planting seeds of life even in the smallest way. The journey itself is the gift, not the final destination. Hearing this, Ethan felt a sudden lightness in his heart. He realized that even without having everything, every step he took was already creating beauty in the world. Ethan returned to the village with a completely different state of mind. He did not carry with him an absolute answer, but his heart felt lighter than ever. He now understood that happiness is not something waiting at the end of the road, but the meaningful moments he creates along the journey. Even with flaws, it is those very cracks that make us unique, because through them we are able to spread love and leave our mark on this world. Ethan's story reminds us not to keep chasing a faraway destination, only to miss the beauty lying right beneath our feet. Cherish every effort, no matter how small, because you never know. Those efforts may already be quietly blooming in someone else's life. And perhaps true happiness is not about how much we achieve, but about how much we give along the way.